Hello, this is the informational chat entitled The Different Kinds of Adoption. I'm Dr. Berger, a psychologist and founder and director of a nonprofit and fully licensed adoption agency that has been helping pregnant women, birth mothers, birth fathers, and adopting families for over 40 years. We have helped in all kinds of adoptions and have completed over 900. Now let me explain the different kinds of adoption. The easiest way is to first break them down into one of two types: a domestic adoption or an international adoption. For people living in the U.S., a domestic adoption involves adopting a child from any one of the 50 states, whereas an international adoption involves a child from any country outside the United States. That part is easy to follow. Now, it gets a little more complicated, since the domestic adoption, the kind we specialize in, can be broken down into two other types. One, those that involve the child and an adopting family who both live in the same state. This is called an intra-state adoption. And the second kind are those that involve a child and adopting family who live in different states. It's called an interstate adoption. Now, both a intrastate, within-state adoption, and an interstate, involving more than one state adoption, can be broken down further into one of four kinds. The first is a public agency adoption, which involves the state's foster care system, where you adopt a child who has been removed from their home and placed in the custody of the state. The second type is called a private agency adoption, which involves either a nonprofit agency, such as ours, or a for-profit agency, both of which are licensed and monitored by the state. The third kind of domestic adoption is called a private adoption, which directly involves one or more attorneys and/or an adoption facilitator, but it typically does not involve an adoption agency. The fourth and final kind of domestic adoption is a step-parent adoption, which is typically the most common of all, and it involves adopting a child of one spouse. It is important that you understand these different kinds of child adoption, since each type has its own advantages and disadvantages, and there's a different set of requirements for each. You are welcome to contact us if you want a further explanation or additional information. Finally, it is important to remember that the U.S. is really a confederation of 50 independent states, and that each and every one of them has their own requirements for each type of adoption. A special note here: I have not talked about what's called an open adoption or a closed adoption. I will go over that in a later chat. I hope this has been helpful. If you want more information about this or other adoption issues, you are welcome to contact me or my staff at the number and the website address shown in the description of this video. My best wishes to you and those you love.